Hi there. The C sharp minor chord is one of those pretty difficult beginner guitarist chords. There are no open strings, so every string that you play is fretted, and it's also played further up the fretboard than most basic chords. In this Guitar for Beginners lesson, I'm going to show you two versions of the C sharp minor chord. The first version I think is the best of the easiest versions and uses 4 fingers. The second version uses 3 fingers, but for me doesn't sound as good. However, the benefits of both these versions is that they are not bar chords and will get you playing your favorite songs that use C sharp minor, and you'll be playing those songs quicker than you expected. So here we are. We're at the 4th fret of the guitar, right there. And the first finger is going to play the 4th fret on the top E string, or the 1st string. The second finger will play the 5th fret of the B, or 2nd string. Now the 3rd and 4th fingers are both at the same fret. They're both at the 6th fret, on different strings. The 4th finger is tucked in here on the 3rd or G string, and then the 3rd finger comes over and is on the D or 4th string. And that's the shape of the chord, which you can also see in the diagram. So before you strum it, make sure that all the strings ring out, and I often do this just by playing each individual string, just checking that they ring out like so. Sometimes with a chord like this where all the fingers are bunched up together, you may find that the odd finger may muffle another string. It's quite common for this finger here, the 4th finger, to be kind of pressing down like that a little bit. So all the fingers should be as arched as possible. They should be kind of arched up like this as possible in order to avoid that kind of muffling of the strings. This is also where patience comes in. Getting this chord sounding perfect straight away is not going to happen overnight, okay? Especially when you're changing from this particular chord to another and then coming back again. When you're strumming this, you're only going to be playing the top 4 strings, and you can see from the diagram that these 4 strings are the D, the G, the B, and the top E strings. So you're only going to be playing these 4 here. So the 5th and 6th strings aren't played with this version of the chord, so you'll need to do one of 2 things here. So first of all, you want to have more control over your strumming hand and try not to play those strings. Or the second thing is you're going to need to use your thumb and your 3rd finger here to try to dampen these 2 strings. So the thumb is lightly touching this, and this one here is again lightly touching the 5th. Now for the moment, if I were you, I'd recommend the first option. Just focus on hitting the top 4 strings. Now remember, you really want to be taking these first steps slowly, and it's something you want to be doing when learning anything new. So take your time with this. Keep that strumming hand pretty close to the guitar for the moment. You can be all Pete Townsend-like a little bit later. Wow, look at that right hand go. Before we look at the second version, the easier version, let's do a little practice progression of this particular shape. And we're going to do a really classic chord progression, and we're going to be playing E, C sharp minor, A, and B. So all these chords are from the key of E, and if you need help with those chords, then check out the link in the description for some basic chord lessons for beginners. So listen to me or play along with me. Here we go, nice and slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. That's a really classic chord progression, that E, C sharp minor, A, B. And you'll hear that particular chord progression in other keys as well, not just in E. For example, if it's in D, it would be D, B minor, G and A. And it's one of my all-time favorites, and it's featured in many, many rock and roll songs. For example, Sam Cooke's Wonderful World. And if you want the chords to that, I'll leave a link in the description for you. I like this version of the C sharp minor. I think it's a good one to start with. However, it can sound a little trebly, but it will get you started. However, if you're having problems with that particular version, then let's look at this second version here. So you're only using 3 fingers, first, second and third fingers for this. And the first 2 fingers are in the same position as version 1 of this chord. So on the top E string at the 4th fret for the first finger, the B string or the 5th string and we're at the 5th fret here. And then finally, this is where the change comes in. The 3rd finger is going to be on the 6th fret of the G or 3rd string. Nothing else is played, so now you need to have a little bit more control over your strumming hand, as you're only playing the top 3 strings. You're only playing these ones here now. It is a little bit easier, but for me it's far too trebly when compared to the first version I showed you. So you've got this one here, and then listen, why don't you give it a try with that last chord progression? If you have a question about this particular guitar chord shape, or in fact anything beginner guitar related, then leave a comment down below. That's also where you'll find links to other beginner guitar lessons. The first version of that chord I think is pretty cool, and there's a lot more you can do with that. And if you want to find out more, then check the link in the description or somewhere around here. Thanks for watching. Happy strumming. Don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about a science book. And don't know much about the French I took.